Well, I hope you guys don't skin me alive here, but I had to do something for my own comfort and safety. I bought a replacement steering wheel for the Goat. I got this exact same wheel that it would have had. It's a blemished repop for 150 bucks. And it's the same wheel. And we could put our center cap back on it. That thing is just awful. Every time I drive it, it just tears the crap out of my hands. And man, if you were to get in a wreck, it's just gonna rip off there, or anything happened at all. I mean, I could pull hard and rip that wheel off. Not getting rid of it might repair it, but for now, I want to use this one. Be cool if it will just come off without a fight, but I think we all know how that's gonna work. Shockingly, the threads are just kind of gummed up in there. So per usual, I'll just force bolts in there and hope for the best. Let's hope that this works. My expectations are considerably low. Oh, I knew that thing would be kind of stuck. I'm glad that worked out. We'll lube those splines a little bit before we toss the new one on. So we gotta worry about like the horn and stuff. I think we kind of gacked the threads. Maybe they were pre-gacked, I'm not sure. Come on now, I need you to cooperate with me a little bit. I know I removed something precious to you, but it'll come back. Just give me a chance. I'll take a file and try to round the edge of this off. That's a lot better. Now, how to put this on, I wonder. All the tabs are missing off the back of it. I think there's something something's supposed to bolt here, and then you snap this onto it. I don't know if I have it or not. I'm not sure how to get this horn button on, but that's the original one from the car. It sure would be cool to have that on there. I guess I'll have to look up what I'm missing, but that would be neat. That would be a good compromise. I'm just gonna be working in my spare time on this thing. Got a few things to wrap up, so this isn't all gonna be shot at once. It's just gonna be a bunch of little clips stuck together. Next thing we're gonna do to the Holey Goat before we try to take her down to Texas, and while we're still waiting on a transmission, is throw a starter on it. The starter that's on it is just a parts store thing, and it is just awful. I had to put like 7 shims in it. I'm not even kidding. We'll count them when I pull them out. It's a Chinesium piece of garbage. So I got this high torque gear reduction one on eBay for 168 bucks. And I figured this will be all the starter we ever need for it. I've never used one on a Pontiac, but I use them on Chevys almost exclusively. And there's no other way to go, guys. Sorry, I mean, this thing weighs, you know, maybe 8, 9 pounds, something like that. So much better. But one thing we'll have to do is make a jumper. This is the solenoid. And with our setup we got going on there with a Ford style solenoid, we're gonna have to make a jumper from here to here so that when we send power to it, it'll pull in the solenoid. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Then I guess I'll crawl under there on the gravel and I need a bigger shop. So all I'm doing here is just taking a piece of scrap wire I got here. It doesn't need to be anything particularly heavy duty. Strip them, slap that on there, and shrink them. Watertight or weatherproof, kinda, somewhat, a little bit. And there you go. One nice little jumper wire. We can go ahead and tighten this one down. And this one we'll just kind of leave loose till we bolt the battery cable up to that. Now the number one rule when jacking a car up on gravel is not to. But I don't have much of a choice here. I could move things around, but board down on here to make my life a little better. And I should be able to reach it without actually having to get under here. I think this one may also just be cooking on the exhaust. Anyway, you cut it, it's just not great. Good thing is since we are using the Ford solenoid, you don't got to worry about unhooking the battery because there's no power down here. There's no power, which is why I like this kind of setup. You can melt that battery cable and you would be just fine. Look at all these shims. Come on. You can see just how little space there is in here. This is one of those things I really hate about Pontiacs, actually. The starter location, just awful. There. Big old son of a gun. Keep it for a spare, but that's about it. Oh look, another shim. I knew I had a bunch of them in there. Look at that. 5. I've never had to do that. Those reman starters, they just suck. I did notice one thing while I was under there. For whatever reason, whoever designed this thing decided to put the freaking starter wire on the inside of it, like facing the block. So that's going to be interesting to get hooked up, but we'll see how it goes. You can see the the comparison between these things. It's just a lot better. Alright, I got to put on there. That starter wire being on the block side might cause us some problems. But we'll see. No shims. I like how that sounds a lot better. And no shims required. See, that was all in the starter. So that's cool. Hell, we lost another 30 pounds. Like it needs it. That's one more project done. I got a few other things to wrap up on it, including the transmission. But again, I'm just kind of piecing these together day by day when I get a chance. Well, we've been needing to put a trans cooler on the Goat for a while. And this came off of that motorhome. And so we're just going to clean it up and flush all the motorhome juices out of it. Woo. Anytime you are trying to reuse a trans cooler off of something, well, it's a good idea to just flush it out and at least drain it out, because whatever particles were left in there from the vehicle it was in before are still in there. So if you're going to the junkyard and you go get one, say it came out of something that the trans was bad in, that's going to be not good for you, because the whole thing's probably going to be full of clutch material. If you weren't cheap, you could just, spend the 20 bucks and just buy a new one. Actually, I think it might be plugged up. If it's plugged up, it ain't going to do us any good, that's for sure. There we go. Woo! So what we got to do first, disconnect the trans from the radiator here. If you were doing this on a normal car, or something you cared about, you would actually want to run the fluid through the radiator and out to the trans cooler. And that's so in like winter time, your trans will warm up with the engine coolant. I don't think that's a concern of ours. There we go. There. Go ahead and let that puke. Well, we gotta find us a place to put this thing. I'm kind of feeling, I bet if I just mount it right here in the middle, it'll probably be alright. Zip tie it into place. Hey, have I mentioned that it is unbelievably hot? I don't know if this is gonna work or not. She might just be flopping in there. God, burning my ass. Ugh, concrete. Classy installation here, folks. You just don't get this on, Discovery Channel or Motor Trend. How many zip ties is enough? It's not even a question. There we go. Boy, that's a quality installation right there. You'd have to pay hundreds of dollars to have that done. Let's put an extra on here for security. Oh yeah, that's not going to get annoying at all. Then, don't be a hack. Cut the tails off of your zip ties. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this line straight just so it looks a little better going in. I think I figured out why it keeps rolling those power steering belts. I didn't mention that, but last night I was out driving it around and sure enough it rolled another one. There's a bent spot in the lower pulley. I marked it with a Sharpie so I could go back and find it later once I get a new belt, but I don't know if I can. If I have another one, I'll replace the pulley. If I don't, then we'll try to straighten it with our hose clamp and slide it on there a good little ways. We're just gonna kind of eyeball where she needs to go. Always leave you a little extra in case it gets screwed up here on the road. Just cut it back a little bit. So let's finish our eyeballing here. It needs to be about that long. Slides on there really nice. Just snug her down. Eyeball gauge was a little out of whack on that one. Ow. Well, ugly, but probably functional. Let's see if it leaks. That ought to help our highway cruising temps drop a little bit. When you have a stall converter and it isn't engaged fully, it's got like a 2600 RPM stall in it, but it's a really cheap one, so it's super loose. And what's happening is that stator's not engaged going down the highway at 65 miles an hour, so it's creating fluid shear and temperature in there, which is actually translating over to the engine and starting to warm the engine up. Not really bad, but enough that I don't like it. The external trans cooler will help, and it should cool the trans better as well. See right there, that lower pulley is pinched right where that blue mark is. Yeah, it's flat right through here. So we need to open this groove up. That's gotta be what's doing it. Try to get in here and tweak that back out. I wish I would have noticed this before. But I've fixed about every other damn thing that's been wrong with it. Bump it over and see what it looks like. Still bent really bad. I'm not sure if I've moved it enough, but I have moved. Just get these channel locks in there. I probably stand a chance bending that out. I gotta go through the trouble of taking this thing off. I'm just gonna go buy one. So I don't have one, and it's a Pontiac. The pulleys are very particular about where they come from. It's pretty much got to be off 69 or 70, I'm pretty sure. It's a little bit better. It's squeaking because the belt's too big. It's just one I had off of something else. We'll run it until that one falls off. I guess I'll look for a pulley. Continuing our regular maintenance on the Holey Goat here. I noticed one thing the last time we drove it, is it was wanting to flood out a bunch. And just took a look inside the sight glasses here. And I think the fuel level's just a hair high, especially on the back one. That could be causing it to flood out when you shut the car off. So I am gonna just drop both of the levels just a hair. And I'll show you how to do that. Loosen up this screw here. You just turn this nut. You should be able to watch the fuel level drop. Or not. There it goes. That's up. I don't want them to go any further down than that. Let's make sure that bowl's full. I wonder if we sunk a float. Well, let's try the back one. Let's just set it down like that. Back bowl is totally up. I've been messing with this thing for a minute now, and I'm starting to suspect we got a sunk float in the back, meaning the float's got a pinhole in it or something, and it's sinking. And that's no bueno. Big deal to change or anything. We just gotta pull the fuel bowl off, and we'll take it into the workbench and take a look-see at it. You're pulling your fuel bowl off. Just catch you like a water bottle or something down, and you can use that to catch the gas that comes out of it. And just my luck, tore the gasket. Might get away with it. I have to see if I have another one though. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the float out. Just with these two little screws here. Then we're gonna submerge it in some gasoline and see if it leaks. Pull the eaglet seat out. Should just slump right out. First things first, give it a shake. See if you hear gas in it, and I don't, but we'll be able to tell pretty quick. Let's go ahead and just take our float and see if it, floats. It does seem to float. So let's look for bubbles. I don't see anything. Well, so much for that. I was hoping that would be our solution there. If it was that bad, it would be bubbling out pretty good. That's the float checked out alright. I'm just going to give it a preset, which you can do. You kind of just line up the seam of the float with the ridges in the bowl about halfway, and that'll get you close enough to run on pretty much anything. Other than that, I really can't think of what else it would be. Before I go and spend big bucks on a gasket set, I guess we'll try to reuse this one. What could go wrong?
I'm not sure what the deal was. Seems okay now. Fuel level staying nice and low. I have no idea. I don't know what I did.
A win's a win, I suppose. We did kind of jack up the gasket on this screw, apparently, because it was leaking a little. So we'll make a new one. And that looks like it'll work just fine. Out of this old gasket I found laying around. That should do the trick. Dang it. All that gas is eating my aluminum painted intake. Well, now that we've definitely fixed the carburetor issue, maybe we'll never have to revisit that ever again. I did go ahead and buy a used pulley off of eBay. Came all painted and stuff. And I'm pretty sure it's the right one. I'm going to double check that before we go too hardcore here, but let's go ahead and just throw it on there. I don't want to be eating these belts up left and right. I can tell it's already starting to eat the one we just put on there. So I've been fiddling with this for too long now. And the new pulley came with an AC pulley, and this is the one it came with. And then here's the one I had on it. Neither one of them's right. The correct thing to do is apparently just not use that, because once I took that off, everything seems to line up. So that's good. I guess I'd probably just wasted like 120 bucks, but whatever. Pretty sure we're good, and it's making sure that the belts fit. I mean, it looks better than it ever has. I gotta say that I feel better than ever. But these look pretty dang good for the first time ever. I am so happy about that. But I noticed that this fender, inner fender is, shall we say, not doing anything at all. So I'm just gonna shoot a self-tapper into it to hold it together. There. Problem solved. There, we just fixed the whole car. How about this one? Oh, this one needs help too. Let's go ahead and just fix it permanently. Shoot. Why would you do anything else? I've had some emergency repairs to make to our funnel ram over here. It hasn't been built for the amount of times it's been removed, so it's understandable that it failed. It's not an engineering flaw exactly, I know the guy who built it. He's pretty smart. Well, yeah, that's fine. We'll just go ahead and fix it. Completely repaired. You would never even know. I remember the bearings that kind of shot craps, maybe. This wheel's got a little bit of play in it, but neither one of them feel tight. Well, let's see what's going on. Look. Doesn't smell burned. What on earth kind of cotter key did I use in this thing? I think I'm going to go ahead and check out this whole charade over here. So let's pop this brake caliper off. Just take a look at just this side. The other side feels fine. I know they were both hot, but I don't really see anything that's evidence of anything to worry about, really. Yeah, it ain't stuck that bad. Yeah, it's too loose. I think the bearing's gone. Hear that? That doesn't sound happy. But if it was a brake stuck or something, there'd be brake dust all. It'd be worse than this, because I've driven it enough, even after that happened, for something to go on here. But let's check this bearing out, see if it died. If it's like dead, the other one's probably not too far behind. Let's check our outer bearing. Gritty. Well, no. No, she's just old, starting to come apart. Yeah, actually, I think we caught that right in time. It's got some pretty good chewing on the edge of it on the cone. There's nothing wrong with the bearing, it's just it would probably work just fine, but I think we'll replace it, much as I hate to. This inner has to tell us. Oh, it's smoked. That was it right there. Look how much this thing moves in there. It's pretty wore out. It could probably be packed and get a little bit more out of it, but I think that might be our culprit. Let's compare that to one of these new Super Chinesium ones. Yeah, it's quite a bit looser. And this doesn't have any grease in it. I'm not going to change the race in it. Doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it. Why bother? I mean, I know that's not right, but I've also very rarely changed the races in my bearings, and I've never had a problem. And you know, this being a house brand parts store bearing like this, oh, it's probably good for at least 500 miles. So we'll just buy more when we get to Texas. Ugh. 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 One of these days I'll probably have to start wearing gloves. But today's not that day. Slip that on. So take what's left on my fingers and put it inside the cap here. Not too much, or it'll just go splooging all over our Kragers. Nobody wants that. These down to seat them. We'll back them off. That sounds much better. Hear how quiet that is now? That's a lot better. We better take a look at the other side. I only jacked it up to change the damn oil in it at first. Then I spun the wheel, and then everything snowballs. This is why I just leave things alone, usually. The oil in this thing has been in there for a minute now, and it was either Harvest King or some hodgepodge of, you know, whatever I could find, which is probably not the best. We're going to treat it to some Rotella and a new Wix filter. You know, it's my pride and joy, after all. Well, while the oil drains, go ahead and check out this bearing here. Can't hurt to know. Well, actually it can. Maybe we don't want to know. Noisy, but this one didn't feel bad. So maybe we get away with packing it, or maybe we just replace them anyway, since we're already here. Nobody makes my life more difficult than me. This has been a running theme in my life. Somebody getting after it. God bless America. Why do I do this to myself? I mean, what am I hoping to gain here? Trying to screw the next guy? The next guy is me, stupid. Quit doing this. We'll deal with that in a second. So I'm glad we did this. Just pulled this bearing out, and it's not round. It's flat on one side, or two or three. Yikes. All right. Narrowly avoiding death every day here at Pole Barn Garage. Oh my God. Yeah, I think we found the problem, why they were so hot. I think the mystery has been solved. Yeah, we can all move on with our lives now. This one is at least round. It's got that going for it. JD says he's never packed a bearing, I swear. Maybe you just haven't. Just take, here, grab that little bearing there.
Yeah.
Open it up. Get you grease in your hand and your palm, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And now you can see how the back side of the bearing has this like groove on it.
Yep.
See it on there?
Yeah.
and then just drag it through the grease until it comes out the front of the bearing.
Okay.
Scrape your hand clean of the grease, and then move on to a different part of it. And then you can just
put a lot of grease.
No, you need a lot.
You do?
Yeah, they take quite a bit. You got to fill every single inch, or well, whatever, every bit of space in that bearing, and you see how it starts to come out the front.
Yeah.
See it? Yeah, you got it. And do that all the way around. Yeah, if you wear gloves, it's a lot better.
Oh.
But
what?
Yeah.
What are gloves?
I don't know. Bitch mittens. Remember, when your children help you with something, never check their work. Just take their word for it. And whenever you go drive the car 1,000 miles and the bearing fails and they die because of it, at least it's their fault. We got special delivery. What's up, man?
Welcome. Hello. Yes.
Yeah, this is Bo from Ramblin' Backroads on YouTube's.
Greetings, all.
I'm gonna put a link down to their channel here in the description. I'm in the middle of working on the goat. I figured if we went to drive it, I'd make sure we didn't die. And it was pretty close, though. Oh my.
It's wonderful.
Oh, I love it.
Most of the floor is there, so.
It's not that bad, actually. I mean, looks like it's been cut out, not rotted. Back windows there, that's worth a fortune.
The trip here is the most time it and I have actually really spent together, and it's grown on me a bit.
It's not bad. No, I think the last thing I got to do on this, until I get the dang transmission, if it ever gets done, is I am going to swap the radiator out of the car. Those of you who have watched for a long time and, you know, all that, you'll remember that this is a Corvette radiator, and it is garbage. Well, not really. It's actually perfectly fine. But I don't think that it has the capacity to cool this 400 Pontiac on the highway as well as it should. It doesn't get hot, but it gets hot enough that I worry about it. So I did order a good radiator, a frostbite radiator from Holley, but that's been on back order forever. So I instead opted for, instead of waiting for the good thing, I decided we'd go with the good enough thing, and I ordered this 3-core, not El Cheapo, but El Cheapest aluminum radiator off of eBay. And we'll see how she does, I suppose. Looks nice, I guess. Looks so rad. Anyway, it's bound to do a little bit better than that. It's quite a bit wider. So basically, I mean, is it actually going to function any better? No, but it will hold more coolant, which should make it cool more gooder, or maybe it won't do anything at all. Who knows? Anyway, it should be a quick swap. I don't know, let's rip this out. If you recall, I installed it with 2x4s and 2 self-tapping screws. So we'll install this one the same way. Pretty sure this thing's just full of water anyhow. I don't think we're going to be missing out on much. Let's go ahead and just drain it because it's water. Now, I mean, otherwise, seriously, I would save it actually, but this stuff is expensive. Snip, snip, snip. I don't know who engineered all this stuff. They weren't very smart, I can tell you that. What? Now what? Yeah. Here's what we got for comparisons here. That's the Corvette radiator. This is the one I just bought. And it's not as much bigger as I had hoped for. It's a little bit bigger. And then here's the one that I bought for the blue truck, even though its radiator has mysteriously healed itself. It's a 4-core. It's also a super cheap one. The truck probably really needs a 4-core. The GTO probably really doesn't. I guess we could try the 3-core. If it seems to do the job, then we'll just leave it and save this one for the truck. But I don't know, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with the one in it, so why would I? Well, it looks like, since it's not any taller, our 2x4 installation method is going to remain in here. Just a little bit wider, and that does help. Let me see if I got a new lower hose, I suppose. Get it? Rhymes. Got all the rhymes. Well, I found a new radiator hose. I had it in the trunk just in case. That takes care of that. I think before we put it on, I'm going to make some modifications to our totally rad custom junkyard fan here. I did this on my Vet. You can trim this shroud about an inch before it starts getting into the fan. So I'm just going to notch it so it kind of cups over the radiator, and that might improve our ventilating capabilities a little. Okay, now that I've made a huge mess out of everything here, fits over there a little better. I mean, it's not perfect. It's got a seal kind of around the edge of it, you know, to the core, and that should help some. Will it actually do anything? Well, that's anybody's guess. What I do with my zip ties, there they are. Get out of here, wasp. You know, the cool thing about this is we can install our radiator professionally outside of the car, or install our fan. Sorry, it's hot. I'm dying. My brain is cooked. It's gone, just like the shop. Anyway, put the fan on the radiator outside the car, get it all nice and set up, and hopefully just install it as one unit. It'd be pretty cool. This $17 junkyard unit is pretty good. I'm a big fan of these Mercury Cougar 90s Cougar and Thunderbird radiators. They're really good radiators. Fans. 90s and Cougar and Thunderbird fans, not... You don't need those fancy kits to put these on with. Just some regular old zip ties will saw their way through the tubes of the radiator perfectly good all on their own. You know, when you do this, make sure it's not cutting through the face of the radiator tube. Usually a good idea before you zip tie it on. Take our new full custom radiator assembly in here. Yep. Slip you on. Where did your hose clamp go? Why did it run away? I know it wants nothing to do with this car, and I don't blame it, but look, come on now. There it is. Hey, get back here. You can't get away that easy. We'll leave that 40-year-old hose on the top there. Obviously, it's perfectly fine and functional. You know, I'm pretty sure that's where I need it. It seems good to me. Might as well just shoot a self-tapper into it, right? She's in there solid. That's a known, good, perfectly acceptable trick now, for sure. I've got some of this super coolant. Believe it or not, guys, this stuff actually works. I've used it with some success in the past. Alright. Well, for now, let's start it up. Burp it.
Well, I did something very bad to that fan. Works too good. I turned the fan off just to let the thermostat open. I think I got some plastic shavings in that fan when I was cutting the shroud.
Gotta love the portable temperature gauge in situations like this. Just sitting here with no fan on and barely wanting to climb. It's not a bad thing. We'll let it climb up to about 200, and then we'll kick the fan on and watch it cool off, hopefully. Well, I'll call that a success, as long as it's not puking its guts out right now. Nope. So yeah, total success. That doesn't seem like a lot, but that is running about 5 degrees or so, maybe 10 degrees cooler at idle with the fan running. That's pretty cool. That shows that it is in fact doing something better. Anyway, I think that's going to do it on our prep for Texas here. This is I don't know, this has been shot over like 4 weeks. Just when I get a chance, I'm messing with it, you know. But yeah, this is going to do it for that until we get the transmission. Then we're going to put the tranny in and hopefully just hit the road. I never can tell if I need to like hound a guy about, you know, hey, when is it going to be done? It's been 2 months. This is why I don't like shops. That's why I don't take anything anywhere. Remember to hit that like, hit that subscribe. You do not want to miss our trip to Texas when it does happen this summer. If I have to, I'll try it on this transmission. If I have to. I really don't want to. I really don't think this one would make it. But I'll try it. I really don't want to, but if the dude doesn't get it done by the end of July, I'm going to try it and just hope for the best. Speaking on that note, if you guys are in the Oklahoma area, West Texas, East New Mexico area, I will be in the neighborhood down there, hopefully, assuming it makes it there. So I need you for 2 reasons. A good and a bad reason. The bad reason potentially would be if I break down. I would love it if you would email me, DaleTheStockCarDriver@gmail.com. Just let me know if you would have a shop available or something, you know, just like a roadside assistance network, right, for the Holey Goat. Most of you guys are super cool, and I know you would be happy to help because I'd be happy to help if someone needed it. So, secondly, I'm thinking around Amarillo, Midland area, Texas. We're going to be bombing around that area a little bit. We'll be in Littlefield to see Waylon Jennings' birthplace. I'm thinking if any of you guys are in that area in particular, the West Texas metropolitan area, let me know what would be a good place for us to like have a get together, you know, even if 10 people showed up, that'd be pretty cool, you know, come see the goat, and I don't know, I'll give you a sticker and a beer or something like that. Let me know on that. And again, you can email me, you can message me, you can do any of that. I read pretty much everything. I reply to most everything. Because that's just what I do. You know, I want to do some kind of get-together. I just don't know how, or I don't even know how to organize that kind of thing, or if you organize that kind of thing. Maybe we just meet up in a parking lot somewhere. I don't know. But if you're around there, let me know. And we can talk it out. Maybe you got some ideas that I wouldn't know about. So, thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time on Pole Barn Garage.